Well, looks like I had to cut this clip off at an awkward moment to avoid it getting over half an hour long. It's certainly going to take a while in this game for me to feel justified in using the fast forward button. At the very least, it'd feel ridiculous to do so when our surroundings are still pretty new to us. I'm sure this is going to be the only elevator that the game is going to give us a quick cutscene for. Not that you can really call it a cutscene when Samus only shifts her head to the side a bit. Right, another door we can't open. It's just got a different colored thing floating in front of it. Not really inclined to go back down the elevator we just came up from. I just found it a bit ridiculous that something we already activated deactivated less than a minute later. How many of these gates are there, anyway? Oh, I never would have guessed, considering all the things we've already scanned in this game so far. I know it's there for the sake of people who might be playing this game before any of the other Metroids, but the first Metroid Prime was on this same console. At best, just remind players what buttons to push for what. Wait until the next console generation before you start acting like there are brand new players in the franchise. Nice that the crane still works, but then I doubt it took as much abuse as the things back in the caves. I wonder what convinced the Marines to go down to that specific spot as defense, especially since they were fighting against bugs that tend to burrow.
Recording to logbook.
Omnivorous meaning it will attack us like anything else. And we get another potential threat popping up at the same time. The standard aggressive bugs that we saw workers for. I wonder how many more types of splinters we're gonna see over the course of the game. Well, of course those things are damaged. The bugs burst out of those shells. It wasn't much of an ambush, but that's mostly because they were rather easy to take down. I certainly didn't see them coming, that's for sure. Interesting looking trees there, or at least I assume that's a tree. That part of my mind feels they could be damaged windmills or something. Well, apparently this crew didn't get the new design. Definitely makes sense that this group doesn't have the absolute best gear. They're just standard troops who were doing a standard mission before this happened. I just wish we got to see how they handled themselves before they got killed, instead of just coming in here after the fact. But no, we never seem to really see how Samus measures up compared to the standard Federation troops. At least outside of Metroid Prime 3, which I'm gonna do eventually after this game. I just can't help finding it interesting that we've done 6 Metroid games, not counting AM2R, yet we do not know all that much about the universe that Samus lives in. We know a good deal about the Chozo and Metroids, a moderate amount about the space pirates, but the Federation we have barely anything on, and they're supposed to be the most dominant faction in this universe and constantly hiring Samus. Well, since whatever they are can turn you into a zombie, it's understandable that a few of your men are getting a bit jumpy here. And I can also understand the sentiment that when your back is against the wall, you need all able-bodied troops on the line ready to be in the thick of it, because you don't know when the next attack is going to come from or from where. Still, we found at least one confirmed friendly fire death that might not have had anything to do with those shadow things. Was there even anywhere to stuff the injured troops or the mentally breaking down guys? I haven't seen any bunks for anybody. Right, just because this wasn't a Chozo world doesn't mean we don't have to deal with some temple exploration. Right, a missile door. Hopefully we'll get missiles soon enough, but considering the sheer length of this game, I wouldn't be surprised if it takes over an hour to get something that basic. And yet another thing that we're not going to be able to interact with just yet, just a standard annoyance at the start of a Metroid game. You'd think that by now I'd have gotten used to that. We certainly have plenty of experience at the very least. Another winch. Another convenient, indestructible crate to move. Though apparently this crane isn't quite in the shape it should be in. Understandable, there's no one left to do even the most basic maintenance. Oi, when did you show up? Not especially dangerous, but still a little annoying I didn't notice him earlier. I'm pretty sure the most important system on that thing is the cable itself. I'm pretty tempted to call it rope instead of cable, though, even if I damn well know that actual rope probably wouldn't be able to hold on to whatever weight that crate contains. It's just that when I think of cables, I think of power lines or things like that, while rope, I think of things being held together. It's sort of like why in shooters I generally refer to ammo in clips instead of magazines. Sure, I know that technically speaking, magazine is the more accurate term, but I just have too much of a mental image of a paper magazine you read through, while clip... Well, okay. These days now, clip is now associated in my mind with video clips, not gun clips. I should probably drop that random thought for now and just focus on trying to make progress now that we've come across a new kind of gate, which doesn't actually look any different from the others we've gotten through so far. I don't think treating those gates as an impromptu airlock really did much to actually make the area more secure. Hell, I doubt it even managed to make the people out here feel even the slightest bit more comfortable. Does it count as security theater if absolutely nobody who set it up or uses it is in any way fooled?
Recording to logbook.
If you made your stand, it was a very scattered stand after a large cluster of troops were killed in the underground section of the base. I'm sure you did, soldier. Damn shame we couldn't have fought together, even if you might have gotten killed either way. Yeah, of course this isn't gonna work at all, but maybe it will mean something about 20 hours from now. was that easy to call for help, then the Federation probably wouldn't have called Samus to do the job. At least before they would have ended up losing another 2 or 3 squads just trying to find out what the hell happened here. Anyway, time to once again make sure the bodies of the dead stay down. Still doesn't feel like all that much of a last stand, especially considering the sheer number of bodies we found underground. At least back at the Underground Control Center, we had the sense that they managed to kill some creatures as they went down themselves. But here, the only bodies we could find were just a handful of Marines, and nothing they could have taken down with them. Seriously, why did they even bother to set up a base underground when they were dealing with hostile wildlife that can burrow? I swear, I've seen far too many enemies over the years that have a thing for going underground. If anything, I'm more intimidated by subterranean hostiles than flying ones. At least the flyers you can potentially see coming from a ways off. If they're coming from underground, though, generally you can't notice them until they are painfully close nearby. A female soldier with a chip on her shoulder and something to prove. So this poor girl was an in-universe Samus fangirl. Oh, that has got to sting Samus at least a little. Someone who looked up to her and she couldn't be there to keep her safe. It doesn't matter if it's a rational thing or not. That sort of thing has to mess with you. Especially when you constantly go on obscenely dangerous missions alone and have to at least occasionally grumble to yourself that you wished you had some help dealing with the insane amount of crap. Or at least I know I do. I wouldn't dare say I'm an authority on Samus after everything we've done, but I've certainly got a mental image of her. A mental image that makes me very glad that I've still yet to figure out how to get Metroid Other M to work on my emulator so far. Well, I suppose this terminal near the bodies might be able to enlighten us at least a little. And great! Now I'm starting to get flashbacks to the recording from Jenkins in Halo Combat Evolved. Especially kind of funny since, well, when the first Metroid Prime was released, some people dismissed that game as a poor Halo clone before they got a chance to try it themselves. Well, hopefully the pirates you were chasing had an even worse day than you. Though I somehow doubt that since, well, you're all kinda dead at this point. I can't help feeling that the game is speeding through the text and images a little fast here. And just what they are you referring to? Not an especially loud alarm there, but I suppose it grabbed his attention well enough. I'm sure that guy was actually saying something, but the music just completely covered whatever words in whatever language he was speaking there. Oh yeah, those poor bastards never stood a chance. We haven't even fought one of those things yet, and it's easy to tell, just based on how many of them are coming at once. I don't think the in-game engine can actually put that many sprites on screen at once while the player is able to act and react to them. It is a swarm that can only exist in cutscenes. Well, it may have only been a cutscene, sir, but I certainly salute your tenacity for trying to fight back against a force that large. Rest in peace. Well, it doesn't need to be active anymore. We've already gotten everything we want from it.
Recording to logbook.
So they partially named their patrol ship after a Norse god of war. Bit of an interesting choice there.
Recording to logbook.
And of course, the man who made sure we got to see a recording of what happened was the captain himself. And at least he was smart enough to realize he made a mistake building a base underground like that, considering the kinds of hostiles out here. Still, I somehow doubt if Force 2 was linked up with Force 1 that they'd be able to last long enough for us to be able to help them. Could have sworn that these guys used energy weapons like the pirates do. Why would they be able to run out of ammo that way? I didn't even see any means they could have reloaded their gun in the middle of that fight. But then it's not like we ever see Samus reload her missiles, even though that has a limited ammo supply. At least when it's available. Right. Ask and ye shall receive the missile launcher. That was a lot less troublesome than I was expecting. And I certainly appreciate that. Okay, now we're seeing the monster variant that the Marines got overwhelmed by. Wow, I think the Marines were able to take down individual ones a lot faster than we are. Now I'm even more pissed that we didn't get to fight alongside any of them before they died. Apparently their standard issue gun is more powerful than the power beam. Or maybe it's just a matter of them being able to rapid fire it, while we have to pull the trigger for each individual shot. Granted, I'm sure we're more skilled, but it still feels odd that we came to a rescue mission with worse guns than the people we were trying to rescue. I'm not sure bayonets can really be much of a thing when the gun you're talking about is a cannon attached to your right arm. And it's not like we saw any missiles being fired against those shadow-infected creatures. Do you mean to tell me that the Federation still uses bullets? Well, that entry wasn't very informative, and I can't really blame him for freaking out. Not when he died here along with everyone else on the ship.
Recording to logbook.
Yeah, it's safe and boring until the place gets absolutely swarmed. Huh. I think this is the only person who got killed while making their log entry. Though based on the fact that he said halt, I'm assuming it was a zombie that got him, not one of the infested bugs. Right. Nowhere near enough seats on this ship for all the Marines we saw both above and below ground. The only ones who get chairs are the ones who got to write log entries that we can scan. And of course there are no pits in this small ship, so I hope that they tend to go back to base frequently instead of going on especially long multi-day or even month-long patrols. But then Samus doesn't have a bed on her ship either. Dear God, my back is aching in sympathy. That said, I can't help feeling this ship might be in some ways a little nicer than the Normandy from Mass Effect, but then I was constantly bitching about the lack of a chair for the captain on all 3 variants of the thing. But then I suppose the Normandy gave the crew bathrooms and beds, so this patrol ship doesn't actually compete that well in terms of creature comforts with that ship, so ignore my last statement. Always useful to get a map, even if we're not actually allowed through a number of doors just yet. Is that a super bomb door this early on? At least I'll be able to notice that door on the map later in the game, and possibly head this way again when we have the right weapon to open it. I think Metroid Dread kind of spoiled me in terms of what kind of information I expect to see on a map. Yeah, definitely not enough seats to account for all the zombies we had to put back down. Wonder what this thing used to project. Oh well, if it can't be fixed, then it can't be fixed. There are plenty of other things we can look at around here.
Recording to logbook.
So, we've got a cannon that we can launch ourselves from if we're in morph ball mode. Just based on that, I'm pretty sure whoever built these ruins had some manner of relationship with the Chozo. Those birds certainly go around before they ended up extinct, so that's for sure.
Recording to logbook.
And why am I not surprised that this Marine doesn't believe the sheer amount of bullshit that Samus has to deal with? Hell, this doesn't even take place after the Metroid 2 events in the timeline, and Samus's accomplishments are still rather fantastical for the average grunt. I really appreciate little tidbits like this. It helps the galaxy as a whole feel a bit more alive to me, despite how limited our view of it is in this series. And of course, the cannon is going to be the perfect size to be able to launch the morph ball. And look at that! A section of wall that's been reinforced for the sake of people who travel via cannon. Right, doesn't seem to be anything over here other than that missile door. Again, we probably don't have to scan absolutely everything in the game, but I still find trying to do so its own kind of fun. Anyway, we're getting close to the point when I decided to cut the clip. We're making good progress at the moment, but then we always make good progress at the start. It's when we start getting closer to the end when things feel like they're moving at a downright crawl, to the point that I use the fast forward button rather liberally. Finishing the first hour is the easy part. Finishing the 21st highlights just how determined you are. Wait, not even in this spectrum of reality? What the hell does that mean?